This is something that I just thought was interesting. It never ceases to surprise me how vibrant the personalities are for a lot of these indie VTubers, especially the Western indie VTubers. Being serious, a lot of them just are impulsive and say things, no matter how rude it sounds, without a care in the world about the optics or exactly how they come off when they say something, which is pretty incredible for somebody who's trying to make a living being an entertainer. I just never really understand that. While I was scrolling Twitter, not usually a good time, and I came across this post. It's by a VTuber named RaivyRain, and it says, "I thought you guys were joking about this kind of comments, but I guess there's actually those kinds of weirdos, LMAO." And then it's an image of this VTuber with the text, "Model looks a little like Silvervale, looks nice." I'm just going to keep this image on the screen for a few seconds, and any of you guys who know who Silvervale is can tell me if this looks like Silvervale or if this was a crazy thing for this commenter to say. I myself looked at that image and thought to myself, that looks like Silvervale. Matter of fact, if I had seen the image isolated with no context, I would assume that it's a different outfit for Silvervale, kind of like how Iron Mouse has a lot of outfits that look different from one another. Right off the bat, I just think it's strange how aggressive this Ravy person is coming off, right? I guess there's actually those kinds of weirdos. Like, what is she saying? I guess there's actually those kind of weirdos because one guy said model looks a little like Silvervale, a little bit like Silvervale. I mean, it looks a lot like Silvervale, obviously. Actually, I'll go ahead and make a side-by-side so that we can see the comparison here. I think that it's not a crazy statement at all to say that they look alike. I mean, it's just like the truth. The color palette is the same, right? Like the blue, the light blue with the pink highlights, and the ears look the same. The exposed shoulders, the big boobs, the necklace. There's a lot of similarities there. But apparently Ravy here thinks that it's not similar at all, and she's not very happy about people making the comparison. Someone would reply to the post saying, it's a fair assumption, but still an assumption that they mean anything behind saying you look like her. Because I'd argue almost factually you do. Is that a problem? Of course not. However, you did shame a viewer publicly who might not have meant anything by it. That's not great. Yeah, I think that's a pretty reasonable response. I mean, the person was obviously not attacking her by saying, your model looks like Silvervale. It does, and he even said it looks nice. So what does the VTuber RaivyRain respond with here? Well, she says this, "Fuck off honestly, homie. I do not look like her, and I suggest to check the doctor if you think I do. Block me if you hate me stating that he's a weirdo. I think you're also a weirdo. Peace. I don't have to filter myself for anyone, thank God." I had to do a double take the first time that I read that response. Like, why would you ever respond like that? Why would you come off so aggressively towards somebody that's just making a simple statement? The original commenter said, you look like Silvervale. You literally do look like Silvervale. That person said you look a little bit like Silvervale and said that you look nice. You still insulted them. You still suggested that they're a weirdo and that you're surprised people like that exist. What is it with these indie VTubers, man? This is like insanity. Like, you have so many terrible people that are trying to really make it as content creators. Like, why is she responding in such an insanely aggressive way towards somebody saying, hey, you kind of look like this other VTuber? Which, again, I don't think that that's unfair at all to say. She literally does look like Silvervale. Based on all of the similarities between these two models, and I would literally have thought this was a new outfit for Silvervale if I hadn't known about this VTuber, I think it's pretty insane to make the assertion that somebody should see a doctor if they see similarities between your model and Silvervale's, calling them a weirdo for pointing it out and saying I don't have to filter myself for anyone. Why are you so offended at such a mundane statement? Yeah, your model looks like another VTuber's. Are you offended that you're being compared to a much bigger, more successful VTuber? Is it the same kind of effect of like girls going to some party and then they see another girl wearing the same dress as them? Is that why she's so upset? I don't really understand it. Saying, oh, I don't have to filter myself. I mean, you don't have to, but you probably should. Actually, it would be better if you did. You're not making yourself look good by acting like this, and you're definitely not helping yourself grow as a content creator. I mean, she's small enough that I don't think too many people are going to know about or care about this situation, but I just think that it's so incredibly strange that somebody would react like this at being told that their model is similar to another VTuber's, which is something that happens all the time, and it wasn't even framed at all in a derogatory or insulting way towards her. But I guess she decided that the right right course of action was to go put that viewer on blast in front of her 200 average viewers, which is a pretty sizable number, decent amount of success for a Twitch streamer. There's a lot of people who don't get that many viewers. Probably some VTubers who are a little bit nicer than Ravy here, but she would continue on in the replies. Galewind VT would respond with, I wasn't nearly aggressive enough to warrant that response. To which Ravy would respond with, I don't filter myself with people who lack the intelligence to see past two colors, and I am not sorry. You're Western indie VTubers, everyone. What is with these people? I don't understand genuinely how you could come off like such an asshole just over the most mundane statement that you look similar to another VTuber. Not even an insult in any way, no profanity hurled at you, and then you just start crashing out over it. It's just so strange. And looking at the comments, I'm not crazy. Other people also thought this was a pretty insane response to have to such an innocuous comment. Also, somebody responded with what happened to this, and if this is actually a real post by RaivyRain, it would be hilariously ironic. Just a silly post to remind people on Twitter to be kinder to the next person. Maybe they make you angry, maybe you do not agree with their point of view, but it shouldn't be a reason to send death threats or bully. Thank you. It's so hard for me to navigate this app lately because of the very bad feelings it feeds from. Wait, I looked it up and it's actually real. She posted this on November the 6th. So after saying literally a week ago, it's so hard for me to navigate this app lately because of the very bad feelings it feeds from. 1 week after making this tweet telling people to be nicer on Twitter, she makes this post basically issuing a fuck you to anybody who sees obvious similarities between her VTuber model and Silvervale's. The jokes really write themselves, bro. Crashing out over being called similar to another VTuber in her design, which is like objectively true, and being incredibly rude and abrasive for no reason. Like, look at this response. You can't blame him. You really do look a little bit like her. You have to get used to being compared. That is just normal. And hey, Silvervale has a beautiful VTuber model and yours is pretty too. She responds with, this is actually copium, no offense. Is this person blind or what am I missing here? Like, you guys gotta tell me if I'm crazy. She literally looks like Silvervale. I'll say it again. If I didn't know who she is, which I didn't know who this was before today, I would have assumed that this was a new outfit for Silvervale with some Oni horns and like a new eye color. How could it possibly be copium to draw a similarity between these two designs? Another person responded with, how do I look like Silvervale? We look nothing alike. Like, can we be for real? To which Ravy responded with, hi sir, this is us laughing at your bitch blind ass by the way. Cool lack of brain cells, I wish you a great day. It is literally mind-boggling that an insufferable bitch like this actually has viewers. Why is she being max level aggro and insanely abrasive to somebody pointing out that she looks similar to another bigger VTuber in a non-insulting way, even complimenting her model for also looking good, but just pointing out the similarities and not even accusing her of copying Silvervale? She posts a screenshot with the tweet of her, I assume, talking shit about everybody in this thread on her stream, which I don't know if that was supposed to be an own, but it's only really proving that people are rent-free in her mind, and when the obvious comparison between her and Silvervale's character models is made, she has to go on stream and make it a segment where she crashes out on everybody who said that. Like, use your eyes. It's not a personal attack to say that you look similar. Like, this woman is genuinely insane. No, like, this is actually crazy. The fact that she made that tweet talking about, please be nicer on Twitter, guys. It's so hard to, like, navigate this app. Like, dude, the fact that you said that and now you're saying this, like, the mental illness is at level 11. This is competitive brain damage. How does it look like Silvervale? Some people are blind seemingly because also comments started saying that. Is she ESL or something? I am straight up asking myself the same. Once again, just like full copium and denial. I don't know what is the play here, but the similarities are so obvious and she's like pretending not to know. I also saw Deja Vu Kong make a post about this and it says the viewer didn't say anything inherently wrong and it's unreasonable for them to be publicly shamed over it. If you want to look deeper into it, her color scheme is very similar to Silvervale's, and if you compared their silhouettes, it would be difficult to tell them apart. The hate directed at a random viewer is unnecessary, and the additional hostility towards people in the comments only makes things worse. If you want an example, take me and Kenji. We're both based on Sun Wukong, but our color schemes and designs differ, and you could easily tell our silhouettes apart. It can definitely be annoying to be compared to another VTuber, but in this case, the color schemes and silhouettes are barely different. Pretending there aren't similarities, then getting offended and calling out the viewer and commenters over it just comes off as childish behavior. I'm expecting we will see her apologies once this inevitably blows up in her face. And what do you think happened after he tweeted this? He got blocked, of course. I mean, this is what happens. Somebody says something stupid, rude, abrasive, tries to rage bait, etc., and then when they get called out, they block the person who called them out. Ravy the next day would quote her own tweet saying, "Oh wow, this popped off during the night and some people got off offended. Homies, it's been more than 3 years. I have blue and pink hair. I don't look like her. Gently fuck off. Thanks." Well, if Ravy here could rub more than 3 brain cells together, then she might understand that it doesn't really matter how long you have been a VTuber with this design. No matter how much time passes, your VTuber design still looks similar to Silvervale's design. Nobody's accusing you of stealing a design or copying it, but it looks similar. That's the statement that was being made. Let me put the original screenshot over here of her tweet just in case anybody thought that the person was insulting her. It was an innocuous comment and he literally said it looks nice, and she decided to crash out over it. Doing this for 3, 4, or 5 years, none of that would matter. Your design does look similar to another VTuber's. A bigger VTuber at that, who did start VTubing before you did. Could this perhaps tie into the reason that you're so defensive when anybody says you look similar? Is it some kind of insecurity? I just don't know what the relevancy of saying, "Oh, I've been doing this for 3 years" is when Silvervale has literally been doing this longer than you have with her design. So while you weren't accused of copying, your tenure as a VTuber, which is shorter than Silvervale's, does not prove anything. So there's no reason for you to be pointing it out. Here's even more comments under this post where she's crashing out on more people who make the obvious statement that she got easily offended and is being very overly abrasive about the entire thing. Tomcat17 says, "I think you're just easily offended." Ravy responds with, "Saying I'm easily offended because I say someone to fuck off after the same 15th time of very stupid statements is so silly, but pop off queen slay." Okay, so English is definitely not this person's first language, but I'm getting here that she is saying that apparently this happens a lot. The 15th time or something like that this has happened, which again, even if that is the case, it's only because you do look similar to Silvervale, and it's not really a reason to be disrespecting people brazenly. So IVR responds with, "People are allowed to have similar models and yours is distinct from hers. Don't let the brain rots get you." So he's making a comment that's in defense of her. He says, "The issue is my original design dates 2020 and I am pretty sure at the time I didn't even know who she was. But since she's more popular, she gets to own the color now, I guess. Weird thing, but yeah, I already muted the main topic and most people who came out of this were nice." So there we go. She exposed her real feelings there. She is insecure about Silvervale being the bigger content creator having a similar looking model, saying, "Oh, because she's bigger, she owns the colorway, I guess?" No, she doesn't, and nobody was accusing you of stealing the colorway or stealing the design. You just decided to respond like an ass when somebody said you looked similar. Also, saying most people who came out of this were nice is literally just lying to yourself again. That's copium. The majority of people who responded to your tweet were calling you out for being an asshole for no reason, and you even blocked a lot of those people, I'm pretty sure. So choosing to ignore all of the people that you blocked and the people that were ratioing your comments and then saying, "Oh, most people who came out of this were nice," it's you just closing your eyes and blocking your ears and pretending like you don't know what's actually going on, which is, I guess, pretty much what you're doing when somebody tells you you look similar to Silvervale. The Protomorph says, "I can already tell you're an insufferable person IRL because fuck everyone else's opinion, huh?" And Ravy responds with, "So insufferable that I have a perfectly normal life outside of VTubing, but hey, me saying to fuck off to someone for the same exact comment twice has to be what makes y'all freak so much. Pela. Y'all didn't get bullied enough, and being anonymous just makes you think you can say anything," with a middle finger emoji. Really just a ray of sunshine and positivity here. I mean, this is like, I don't even know what's going on in this person's mind. You gotta be a real mentally ill freak to be talking about how you need kindness and positivity, and then you're treating people like this for no reason. So in what seems to be the last tweet about the situation for now is her saying, "I am very sorry for those who find out about my new model like this and those who find out of me in general like this on Twitter. I do not spend much time on Twitter." Well, I'm looking at the Twitter account and it says 11.9 thousand posts, so I don't know how much I should believe that. Going back to her tweet though, "We'll try to change that in the future. Meanwhile, I guess we add copy as a banned word so people stop being ass about it, I guess." It's hilarious for her to say that because the original person in her chat that she decided to screenshot and post on her Twitter page didn't even say that she was copying anybody. Once again, showing the world her insecurities. Thank you for all the kind words and friends checking in. For the haters, I am a streamer since 4 years. Nobody cares. Full-time since 2. Lick my left nut and go back into the goblin cave you live in, cause I do not give enough fucks to appease the general Twitter user in any way. Warning, I don't have nuts. I am a girl. I should state that before Twitter thinks I'm actually a male. Considering how it's going so far, I'm sorry to disappoint to say I don't own 15 inches stick. So yeah, this person's just insane. I have no idea who this is. Again, apparently an indie VTuber who averages like 240 viewers. Again, this is the Twitch tracker right here. Absolutely insufferable bitch with a horrible personality from what I could gather. This is like literally me after only knowing about this person for like 1 hour. It is questionable how she has viewers, but I'm guessing or hoping that she is very different on stream than how she is on Twitter. Because this woman is a complete ass on Twitter, and it really doesn't even make sense why you would have this much of a crash out, starting off with an innocuous chat comment saying that you look similar to a bigger, more established VTuber and that your model looks nice. Taking that as a personal attack and calling that person a weirdo and telling everybody who says you look similar to fuck off. All of that is just so strange. Just way too many freaks in the indie VTubing scene, man, and this is just another one of them. I have no idea why this person is like this or how they average like 250 viewers while having this kind of personality, but you know, it is what it is. People are gonna click for their big titty fox girl flesh tuber who is milking them for their money, I guess. I'll just stick to watching my HoloLive, man. I mean, the indie VTuber scene is way too much of a headache. But that's all I have for this video. Coming out of this just really confused. But if you found this situation interesting, then hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. I mean, I'll update if anything happens here, I guess. And for everybody who made it to the end, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.